Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another edition of What's Hot with Sea Tranquility. I'm your host, Pete Pardo, publisher and CEO of SOT. Today is the day we finally got the brand new studio release. It's taken, about 19 years from one of America's favorites. Talking about Blue Oyster Cult, The Symbol Remains. Out now on Frontiers Records. Get a good gander at that, folks, right? Of course, The Symbol Remains. That's the symbol we've seen on almost every single, if not every single, Blue Oyster Cult album that's ever been released, right? They're back. They're back, not to be forgotten. You know, just when you thought the Blue Oyster Cult was just going to continue playing all the hits live and that's all we'd ever get from them, no, they had at least one more studio release in them. So this is the first release since Curse of the Hidden Mirror back all the way in the very beginning of the 2000s. So it's taken them quite a bit. Was it worth the wait? You know what? I think so. I really think so. So let's take a look at this bad boy. I just got this today. I've actually had the music, the digital version of this for about 2 weeks or so. So I've had a chance to kind of dig into this quite a bit. Look for the review on our website. Let's go through the booklet here. So there's the guys in the studio. You got the lyrics, right? Got more photographs and things from the studio. More lyrics. And there's the symbol once again. So who's in the band, you might be asking? So, of course, we've got the longtime founding members, Eric Bloom on guitars, keyboards, and vocals. You got Donald Buck Dharma Roser on guitars, keyboards, programming, and vocals. And then you got, these guys have been in the band for a long time. You got Richie Castellano on guitars, keyboards, programming, and vocals. All three of those guys share lead vocals on the album. You got Danny Miranda, bass and backing vocals, and Jules Rodino on drums, percussion, and backing vocals. And you got some guests here. You got original member Albert Bouchard contributing some backing vocals and percussion. You got Phil Castellano, Andy Ascalise, David Lucas, Kasem Sultan, Steve Lacera, Kevin Young, John Castellano, Jeff Nolan. Most of those guys are contributing backing vocals and some little bits and things here and there. So how is the album, you might ask? Well, it's really damn good. So you've got, what do we got? 14 tracks in total. This is produced by Eric, Buck, and Richie. Executive produced by Steve Schenk. Great sounding album. For me, it kind of, it sounds like a Blue Oyster Cult album in 2020. You get little bits of classic period stuff here and there, 14 tracks, a lot of music, but it doesn't really sound overly long. We've talked a lot of times here on the channel about how a lot of albums in the CD era are 60, 65, 70, 75 minutes long, musical overload. Right here, you do have 14 tracks. Yeah, it's about an hour's worth of music, but it goes pretty quickly because there's a lot of variety here. It's not 60 minutes of the same sounding stuff over and over again. You get all sorts of different flavors of BOC from throughout their career put into 2020. They've released a couple songs early before the album came out. That Was Me as the kickoff track, just under 4 minutes of big, heavy, beefy, heavy metal Blue Oyster Cult. It's really catchy too. Got, Eric singing on that particular one. Really, really strong song. One of my favorites on the album. It's a definite cruncher. Big guitars, great vocals by Eric. The chorus is amazing. I gotta tell you, the choruses, the harmonies, the backing vocals on this album, terrific. Really terrific, really top notch. Then you got Box in My Head, which is another one of the early tracks that were released. That is a Buck song where he sings, and it's catchy. It's kind of poppy, right? It's kind of, if you like, it's a lot of the early 80s stuff that the band did, especially the ones that Buck wrote and sang, like Burning for You, the more real catchy stuff, kind of along those same lines. It has a great hook on the chorus. I think if a song like this were released, 20, 30 years ago, hit potential there. Then you got Tainted Blood, which is big and heavy. You got Richie singing that song. Richie sings a couple of songs on here. He's got a very different voice for the band. Very different voice. And I think for some long-time listeners, it's going to take a little bit getting used to, right? Because obviously he sounds very different. He's got a very young-sounding voice, and it's more of like an arena rock voice. So that's a little bit different here. I got used to it fairly quickly. At first, I was kind of like, not really sure about this. But then the more you listen to the album, you're more like, you know what? It actually fits in really good and adds a little variety to the album, a little different flavors, right? So Tainted Blood, also really good lyrics on this album, and it's pretty heavy. Then you got Nightmare Epiphany, which is another Buck song. Again, almost kind of like almost like the sequel to Shooting Sharks, or a lot of those more Harvest Moon, if you like that kind of stuff, the more real melodic poppy stuff from BOC in the 80s, kind of along those lines. Edge of the World, another Ritchie song, sung by Ritchie. Big, heavy, and rockin'. Then you got The Machine. Actually, no, Edge of the World, I think, is an Eric Bloom song, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember all the tracks because I've been listening to it a bunch of times, but there's a lot of stuff here. The Machine, I'm pretty sure The Machine is sung by Richie Castellano. Great song, very catchy, and it's all about, and of course I don't have my phone here, but it's all the lyrics, the whole song is about how all of us are basically, trapped and the slaves to our machines, meaning our cell phones, and how everybody's just always staring at the cell phone, engulfed in what's going on in the cell phone. You can't turn off the cell phone. It's got to go with us everywhere. The entire song is about that. Very clever, very relevant, very cool. Then you got Train True, Lenny's song, which is kind of an interesting, like, bluesy boogie rocker, right? Not too bad. Pretty cool. Then there's The Return of Saint Cecilia. That one is also sung by Ritchie, although he sounds like a very young Eric from going back to the first two albums. This song is actually almost the sequel to the song Saint Cecilia, which was a very, very, very early song from the band before they were known as the Blue Oyster Cult, when they were known as the Stalk Forest Group. So it's a sequel, ironically not written by either Eric or Buck, written by Ritchie, but is meant as a loose sequel to that song. Very cool song. Very kind of psychedelic and proggy, and with hard rock, and just a very cool old school sounding BOC tune. Then you got Stand and Fight, which is the other big riffy heavy metal song on the album, sung by Eric. I mean, he's the right guy to sing these songs. Got that snarling vocal. He still can do that, right? Big riffs. Very, very good song. Then you got the rest of the album. So you got Florida Man, which is more of a melodic kind of pop rock song. Nice tune. And then for me, what might be the best song on the album, which is The Alchemist. And that is, if you love Fire of Unknown Origin, Cultosaurus Erectus, Spectres, Era, Blue Oyster Cult, that's the song on here. Great vocal from Eric. It's heavy. It's definitely proggy, adventurous. That I would have loved the whole album of that, but I like the fact that we got a lot of different flavors here. Very good. Then the last three are a little on the mellow side. You got Secret Road. Okay, There's a Crime, and Fight. Those are all, got 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. Those are, you got a mix of kind of Ritchie and Buck stuff on there. Pretty melodic, very, very memorable. Okay, really, really good stuff. So I think, overall, 14 tracks, you get a lot of different flavors and textures, and you got a lot of different, the 3 different vocalists, which is great. So you're never quite not sure what's coming around the corner on the next one. There's a couple really heavy tunes. There's a couple psych prog tunes. There's definitely a couple like pop rock tunes. I think it's just got a little bit of everything, and that's what we love about Blue Oyster Cult. But more importantly, it's a very memorable album. I mean, the first time you listen to it, the second time you listen to it, you're already remembering all these songs and the melodies and the riffs, and that's what it's all about. So I'm digging this quite a bit. And I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars on the website. I can tell you right now, this is going to be a contender for Album of the Year at the end of the year. And I mean, who would have thought that in 2020 we would get great comeback albums from Blue Oyster Cult, another one from Kansas, another one from Deep Purple, right? I mean, just these are, veterans, legends. Who would think that, we'd be getting such high quality music from these bands in 2020, but we actually have. So there you have it. The Symbol Remains, Frontiers Records, Blue Oyster Cult. For those of you who have heard it, let's hear what you think down in the comments below. If you have not heard it, go check it out. Give it a couple listens. It's definitely a grower. Give it second, third listen. You'll be hooked. All right. This is on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're on YouTube all the damn time. We'll see you guys later on and over the weekend, right? So have a good one. Bye-bye.